Alright, this is part 2 of a tutorial to show how to use Unity3D to set up a camera rig that's ideal for exporting 3D GS images that you can use to create the Gaussian splats. The first part, we used a paid asset called Pegasus, and so for this part we're going to use Unity's Cinemachine to do this. And so if you have not already installed it, go to your Window Package Manager under Unity Registry. It may take a while to load. Go down and select Cinemachine, Install, and Import. And while you're in here, also select Recorder, which is Unity's video recording or rendering asset, and then choose Timeline. And so once those are installed, this is how I set this up. I created an empty, and this is just going to serve as a folder for everything that's in this timeline. Right click again, create another empty, and this timeline will actually be your timeline. With that selected, hit create to create a directory on it, and it's going to ask you to store it somewhere. I have a folder of timelines. Alright, and so now while that's selected, you want to make sure you clamp down this lock, and we're going to now add our cameras. So go to Cinemachine, and we're going to use a dolly camera with track. I'm going to rename the camera Dolly Cam 3, and I'm going to go ahead and rename the track Dolly Track 3, just so we know those two go together. And let's move that into the timeline folder. And now if we select the track, you'll see that we have these two gizmos, and I'm going to just go ahead and select the second one and separate it a lot so that I know which one to grab. This one I'm going to move, it moves the entire track. So I'm going to set it up roughly there, raise it up a little bit, and then I can take this second waypoint and place it where I want it. And so over here in the inspector, we're going to just add another waypoint. You could add them all at once, but they keep going in that same direction, so this might be a little easier so they don't get way out of the frame. So there's our rough layout of this. We can obviously tweak this. We may want this to go similar to the Pegasus, just kind of get a basic for Gaussian splat. There's all different ways to record your cameras. We're just doing the standard sort of circle, and we're going to have it focused towards the center. What I'm going to do is we could do a separate track now, but I think what I'll do is I'll just continue and make it spiral up. So I'll add this camera, and let's raise it up a little bit. Add another one. Let's keep it at the same level. Okay, so once you get these where you'd like them, obviously you're going to want to tweak these a lot, but for this tutorial I don't want to get too bogged down in that. Let's go ahead now and show you how to visualize these. If you go to your dolly cam, you have in the Spectre you have quite a lot of options. This is part of the Cinemachine. Go through and learn about what all these things do. It's pretty powerful, but for now we're just going to focus on the body. And you can see path position. You'll see over here in game view that if you change this to 1, it's going to show you each path where you are. It's facing the same direction though. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a target. So right click, create empty, and that target we are going to put, roughly in the middle, and raise it up to where, about above the ground. Select the dolly cam again, and now over here where you see look at, we're going to move this target into there. And so now when we select each one of these positions, it shows where it is on the path with that target. Take the main camera and drag it down. It'll give you the option to add a Cinemachine track. In later versions this changes, or in earlier version, it changes in some versions. You may have to go here and just select Cinemachine track and then drag your camera on there. You should have this Cinemachine brain on there once you do that. And then we're going to over here right click, and you could add a Cinemachine shot, but we already have cameras, so I'm going to say add Cinemachine virtual camera base, and it's going to allow me to select that. So now we can just slide this over, and however many images we want, I'm going to see what my frame rate is. I'm going to change that to 24. And so now that's fewer images. So let's just go ahead and move that out to 720. And so now what happens is when we play, nothing happens. So we have to add an animation track. And what that's going to animate is on this dolly cam, drag this into the animator, create an animator on it. And so now we're going to animate that body path position. We're going to start at 0. And if we just turn this on, we don't have to do all the separate positions. We just, oops, go over here, and you could just change it and it'll add that, or you can right click and add a key frame. I'm sorry, that was a little awkward. Basically, you need to right click and add a keyframe or change it to this. You're going to start at 0, and then again, how many? We got 13, so you're going to start at 0, and then all you have to do is go all the way to the end, and then over here, path position, change that to 13 to get it on the last one. And so now we have our track. It's animated. You could change the speed of this by changing where these waypoints are. Excuse me, by changing where you have the keyframe. But we won't get into that either. So this is not the best path, but again, we're just showing you how to do this. And so we're going to start, let's see. I'm going to get rid of this virtual camera. We don't need it. And one thing you could do if you wanted to is you could also animate where the target is throughout this. So if I did another animation track and drag the target onto that, create an animator on it, and so now I'm going to select the target. Let's turn this on, I guess, and let's say we want to make sure we get the sky again. We're going to raise that up a little bit, and we want that to be raised up like that through that whole first round where it's low, let's say. So when we get back around to this, this is where we go up. So we're going to change that back down. But before you do that, go here and add a keyframe, and that keeps it, that whole expanse in the same at the same level. So then go a little bit further out, and now bring it back down. And so now just let the last of it be like that. Does that make sense? If you only put the keyframe up when you brought it back down, it would blend this whole amount, and you don't want that. You want that whole first round to be looking up to get the sky. And again, it's not the best shots that I've got here. There is an ease in that you could change, but it's not that important for what we're doing. It starts slower and goes faster. So now we went up and we had our target go down. So I think one thing I'm going to look at changing possibly is the camera itself. We could have it be wider. We're not animating that. We're going to keep that the same. So that's pretty much it. Let's turn these off. And So now you're ready to do the same things with the Pegasus. We're going to add a recorder track, and we're going to right click over here and add a clip, and we're going to make it the length. We're going to do an image sequence. We definitely want targeted camera, main camera, and you would normally, it doesn't hurt to do these in 4K. They'll be downsized possibly, but paying is probably what I would do. I would change this recorder to something, the name of that you want, and then I choose an absolute path, and I've been using this C drive, just the temporary video, and so I would select that. If you want to check where it is, it opens. So you can overwrite these, you can delete them. I might select all and delete. And so now we're ready to go. That should work. I don't think I've forgotten anything. So yeah, we'll just hit this and make sure this is working. There were a few frames where the target was still lower. So then we can just go check that it's doing what we want. And it is. So then you would just use, again, this whole set of images that you would use in post-shot or reality capture, or whatever your workflow for creating 3D Gaussian splats is. So there's two ways of doing this in Blender. They're not automatic, but they're, it's easier than going out and, I guess, in the real world having to capture. So, and again, I'm really enjoying doing this for these synthetic scenes. So anyway, hope that helps. Thanks.